Welcome to class. So let me start with an apology. I know that the lighting on this particular little video is absolutely horrible. I filmed it last night at 2 in the morning and I wasn't thinking, I thought I would just document how I was filming it really for myself because I like looking back and seeing what I did and what I can improve on. But I watched it this morning and I thought it was so cool that I thought I would go ahead and share it with you guys. So I put in a few texts and now I'm going to sit here and do the words and do the voiceover. So I hope you guys can forgive me for the fact that the lighting isn't perfect. So what I've done is sketched it out quickly and then dropped in some water. Now if you notice, I didn't cover the whole thing in water solidly. I just dropped it in the shape that I knew that I wanted the color to go in, and I did that on purpose because then as I drop in the first color, the second color, the third color, eventually the fourth color into the eyeball, each time, because it's wet, these colors are blending into each other and they make a beautiful blending mix that really looks kind of like an eye, as well as the fact that I'm going with a 3D shape. So the pupil is more where you're seeing it now. Now at the very end I did add, which isn't in this video, but you can see it in the photo, I extended the pupil a little bit to be slightly larger. I am also coming in with a darker color. Okay, this is the third layer now. Coming in with a darker color and adding that in so it's got more form. Tone is really, really, really important, especially when dealing with things that are 3D. You want the lights to be really white and bright, and you want the darks to be really dark, and you want the midtones to be mid-tone-ish, to go from all the way from one side to all the way to the other side, which is why I've got the browns, and then I've got these light orangey colors, and now I'm coming in with these really darks. And now, yes, this looks really dark. This looks like I've just lost all of that pre-color that was in there that was mixing so beautifully, but no, wait, I have not. Because when this dries, of course, remember that it's going to dry back, so it will be lighter than it looks right now. Also, as I'm putting more color in there, this is, what is this called? This is a Pozzolio, is that right? A Pozzolio brown, and there's some burnt sienna, and there's some burnt umber. Let me just see here. And eventually the gray around the outside is going to be Payne's gray and Davies gray. So there's a whole bunch of really dark colors in here. But as I drop those colors in, the lighter colors into the darker colors, and I know you're probably thinking that doesn't make sense, but it does. As I drop the lighter colors into the darker colors, they're going to push the dark colors out of the way. So things like orange and yellow, anything that's got an orangey yellow tone will push blues naturally out of the way. Just a little bit, just enough, if it's all still wet, right? So at this point, I'm leaving the eye a little bit. I'll come back to that in a minute. And I'm stippling in the little bit of texture. Now this eye is looking, it's looking to the right. No, looking to my right. It's looking to its left. Does that make sense? Okay, obviously there's the side of the face over there. So, so this is the inner part of the eye that I'm working on. And I'm stippling that in there and then doing the brush strokes because that part of the face always has really, really, really short hairs, to the point that you can't really even see the hairs. They just blend right out. And then of course as it goes up and out, you've got more of like an eyebrow, and then the eyelashes, and then it moves out, and this alpaca is gray, and as the hairs move out, of course they become wild and messy and all that stuff. Alpacas have long crazy hair, but it's really short in the front. So now I'm doing a light glaze everywhere, and you could actually call this like a wet in wet. This is essentially putting the wet water down in the beginning, but I've added some Davies gray to that, so it's a gray water. Let it dry very briefly, and I'm dropping in a second color and a third color, flipping my paper over to get a better angle, and then again putting in more. And these are like single strokes that are going really long, and I'm mimicking where I think the hairs would be. And then here, coming in with a smaller brush and doing the same thing. Now, this is wet paint, so as I pull my brush through this paint, I'm able to lift paint and put paint down almost at the same time. So it's going to give this beautiful effect. So I don't want it to just be little flares of color going anywhere. I want those colors to be pulled in the direction. And you can see all these different layers now, how they're layering up, and it makes sense, right? The first layer, the second layer, the third, looks like hair. So that's definitely something that I recommend you guys practicing, is layering on the hair. And just imagine you're painting grass. Like, it's the same kind of thing, just paint those long lines, but keep them irregular and layer them when they're still wet, and as they're drying, pull that brush through there in order to get more definition, and maybe even lift some of the color out in order to put a few highlights in. So here I'm continuing the same thing over and over and over, and now we can see the final image. There it is. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next episode. Toodaloo!